autistics.
The home of neurodiversity success stories, business and guidance. This is the Neurodiversity Gold Podcast with autistic best-selling author, TEDx speaker, entrepreneur and consultant, Jude Morrow.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Neurodiversity Gold Podcast with me, Jude Morrow. And first of all, I want to give my heartfelt and sincerest thanks to Doug Blecher of Autism Personal Coach, who has compiled a list of podcasters to give the autistic view in something quite scary that consumes the autistic community every year. And I would like to give a bit of background about it, of that sinister thing that catches us all. I suppose for people here listening who are not regular listeners to the Neurodiversity Gold Podcast, that is my podcast. It's hosted by myself, Jude Morrow. And what I aim to achieve with the Neurodiversity Gold Podcast is to show that autistic people and all neurodivergent people can thrive in business, can have successful families, successful homes, and ultimately kick some serious ass in life. That's really what I want to do. There's a lot of podcasts very similar to mine, and I support and champion and listen to probably every single one of them. And I really enjoy this space and this sphere. A little tiny bit about me. I am an author. My two books, Why Does Daddy Always Look So Sad and Loving Your Place in the Spectrum, are a collection of my stories of being an autistic child that grew up through the mainstream school system, that grew up in the world of work and entrepreneurship and everything else, and pretty much a world not made for me and not made for us. And when I say us, I mean the autistic community as a whole, because it most certainly isn't. And it's quite sad. It really is. I'm the founder of Neurodiversity Training International, and what we do, we help organizations, businesses, coaches, training providers to create their content, market, launch, create fantastic content, have more impact with the autistic community, and I absolutely love it to bits. It's my favorite thing in the whole world. It's my baby, and it has helped me to connect and forge friendships with incredible people all across the world. So I suppose this is a small dedication that I'm dedicating this podcast to the current friends of NTI, everybody else. It's been an incredible journey. I want to take you back to the 1st of January, okay? Now, we all know it is New Year's Day. And I have had this same feeling for the last few years, is you have New Year's Eve and you have some drinks and you have some fun with your friends, and then you wake up and it's New Year's Day. Although there's a feeling that comes over me on New Year's Day, and it's worse than any hangover could be. The 1st of January means that the 1st of April, whilst being in 2022, is only 90 days away. Now, the 1st of April, to most people, is April Fool's Day, where people play innocent pranks on one another up until 12 or 1 o'clock, I believe. But for the autistic community, it's the start of something horrific. And that something horrific is Autism Awareness Month, okay? And I am trying my very hardest to come up with content for this incredible Stimmy Vibrations project that Doug Blecher is very kindly running, and trying to say things that are different. But I think it will have as much power, if not more power, if myself and the other podcasters in the lineup were all saying the same thing. Autism Awareness Month is a number of things. Now, I will start from a somewhat positive angle. Now, hear me out, okay? The positive angle is it's something set up by well-meaning people, perhaps, to try and bring a spotlight to the autistic community. And at face value, and that's what the public perception of what Autism Awareness Month is. And you'll see lots of events on, lots of things. I mean, I'm an after-dinner speaker. I'm a motivational speaker. I've done 2 TED Talks. And most of the time, my Autism Awareness Month is booked out a couple of years in advance. And I do plenty during Autism Awareness Month, but it's very different, okay? Because in April, that's when everybody wants to have their autism-related conference. And some of them have a modest budget of $0 and is simply an online free event. And some of them have budgets into the many hundreds of thousands, if not millions. And this is where institutions that promote, and I say in air quotes, therapies for autistic people are rife. That's where they promote all of their therapies and social skills and everything else. It is the most dehumanizing month in the world, where as a community, we basically have a promo month of people trying to cure us, where everywhere we look on our Facebook feeds, everywhere we look on our social medias, where there's these services that are trying to fix fundamentally who we are all the time. And April is the month to draw attention to that. Now, Autism Awareness Month for 98% of the population of the world is just 1 month. It comes and goes, and that's it. Now, all of us are autistic every single day. I've been autistic since the 7th of August, 1990 at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. That's literally the day and hour I was born. The same with everybody else. We've all been autistic since the day and hour we've been born. And there are so many services and bloggers and whatever else out there saying, no, you're not. You haven't been autistic since the day and hour you were born. That's the cause of vaccines and all of this other nonsense in order to peddle their cures, as they call them. It's absolutely ridiculous. And it's very sore for us to listen to that there's a month dedicated to showcasing how people feel we're flawed as people, and B, how people like us can fix these flaws in order to fit in with everybody else. Because there's one thing, and I remember this from last year, okay? There was a big push on these social skills training companies. And what they say in their marketing is autistic children need to learn social skills so that they don't get picked on or bullied or victimized by other children. But tell me this, and tell me absolutely no more. What is the difference between saying autistic children need social skills training to not be bullied and saying women need to dress a certain way to avoid being assaulted? What is the difference in those two things? Ding, ding, ding. The answer's in from everybody. Absolutely none. There is no difference whatsoever. If anything, it's victim blaming. In other words, the way we are is wrong, so we need to change how we are in order to fit in. It's not right. It's not right. And how people don't see this is completely beyond me. How people cannot see this is just way beyond my level of understanding. It really, really is. Because Autism Awareness Month is full of these conferences. It's full of events. It's full of everybody's Facebook ads being polluted, lighted up blue, and all of everything else. Where it's basically a month where the autistic community are constantly spoken over, are constantly put down, being made to feel hurt. It is actually quite hard a month for me to go through as a human being. Now, I will say it personally, okay? I can't speak for anybody else. I never claim to, and nor will I ever try and claim to. But the month of April goes terribly slowly. And I suppose the only mercy about the month of April is it has 30 days instead of 31. Because maybe that one extra day would be the one that would tip me right over the edge. All I look at through the month of April is lighted up blue, which is not a colour picked by the autistic community. It would be lighted up gold or red instead. Pretty much any colour other than blue. Because the problem with blue is that it doesn't highlight the inequality experienced by autistic women and girls and pretty much anybody who's not a white middle-class male like me. I mean, I fit the stereotype just fine, where I was diagnosed early in life. And I suppose whatever way you look at it, I was quite lucky. I got the supports and recognition of my identity that I deserved. And there's people in today's world, 2022, that do not get that. That do not get it. Let's bring awareness to that. You may see an increase during Autism Awareness Month of all of these shops saying that they have autism-friendly shopping hours. okay, where they turn down all the lights, turn off all the music, as if we are constantly sensitive to light and sound. And they think that's autism friendly. Then they put it on their social media. They get tons of likes. The mayor comes, shakes their hand, and everything else. And they are wonderful. Again, that's just othering. But then that's okay. If you're autistic, you can have basically hours designated for you. Like, just sit and have a think about it in your mind. Where this is my take on Autism Awareness Month. Now, I imagine that most of the other podcasters that are doing this event will probably feel the same. Will probably feel exactly the same. But yet, nobody will listen. Nobody will listen. Where I've become a bit of a misanthrope. I've become slightly less of a believer in humanity because as the years have gone by, there's been a growing body of very proud autistic voices saying, we don't like this. We don't like Autism Awareness Month. We don't like blue. We don't like puzzle pieces. We don't like saying, with autism. Now, let's do a digressionary side note to the with autism thing. People say that using person first language is the preferred method. Now, I trained as a social worker. I was a social worker for 9 years before setting up my own coaching, mentoring, consultancy, marketing business, whatever Neurodiversity Training International is this week, because it evolves all the time and is growing all the time, which is great. Where I would have been taught that saying people with autism is the correct terminology. And saying people with autism generates the same negative psychological pattern as saying a person with cancer or a person with motor neuron disease or a person with any number of incurable and horrible diseases. And let me tell you this, my beloved other half is called Penny. She's the best human in the world. And because I'm autistic and she's called Penny, we get called Sheldon and Penny. Ha 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 ha. Okay, let's just throw that out there. You've got your laugh. Okay, continue. Where both of our mothers had cancer last year. Sadly, Penny's mum has now passed. Okay, my mum is doing better now and is got on the mend. Okay, so there's nothing meaningful about having cancer whatsoever, about the chemo, about the surgery, about, the ailments, the sicknesses, the fatigue that comes with it. But I'll tell you what, though, the difference is that there is something meaningful about being autistic. For me, it's quite meaningful. I'm very proud of who I am. For 25 years of my life, I wasn't. I hid it from everybody. I thought it was something to be ashamed of. I hated it. It made me miserable. And I thought that all the woes in my life were because I was autistic. But that's not true. All the woes in my life were because I didn't accept myself for who I was. I didn't. I didn't want to believe it because there's so much negativity out there. Now, back whenever I was 17 or 18, whenever I was told I was autistic, I looked it up because that's when the smartphone era had come out, 2006, 7, 8, around that time. And I remember Googling the terminology as it was called then, Asperger syndrome. And I remember looking at it and being like, I don't want to be associated with that. That's not me. I'm more than that. In fact, if anything, I'm going to do everything I can to not demonstrate that definition. And over time, I didn't accept myself. And the way people viewed me was in a deficits-based way, all the way through my childhood. Jude can't do this. Jude can't do that. Jude can't do the other. But I could do so many other great things. But no, they were not as important as the things that I couldn't do. Like, imagine that. We're the only people in the whole world that are described in terms of what we are not, rather than what we are. Now, that's like if you're watching this video, okay? You wouldn't think, oh, Jude's not a woman. Jude doesn't have a clean shaven face. Jude doesn't have an absolutely stunningly beautiful office. You wouldn't think that way. You wouldn't, but you can if it's in relation to autism or being autistic. The kids they can't socialize. They can't do this. They can't do that. It's terrible. It makes me so sad every day that it still goes on. Like, you wouldn't say a man with gay or a person with trans. It's the gay people, trans community, LGBTQIA plus movement. But yeah, we're at the stage of our evolution as a movement, have not got the same recognition yet. And that's what we're striving for. And the first thing to get proper, true autistic representation and human rights is to listen to us, to listen to the speech we have the freedom to use, and to tear down Autism Awareness Month. It's done. Like, I do a lot of theatre gigs, I do a lot of after dinner stuff, and I always joke at the start and say, this is an autism awareness talk, and if you've heard of autism, can you please raise your hand? And slowly but surely, all the little paws go up in the air. And then I say, okay, you're all aware of autism. My name's Jude Morrow. You've been fabulous. Thank you. Elvis is leaving the building. But it doesn't work that way. Like, autism awareness is dead. Like, if you're listening to this and you haven't heard of autism, I would ask where you've been. Okay, I would ask where you've been, and I would ask how you get there, because I'd love to go there and stay there in a perpetual state of my eyes closed, my fingers in my ears, and I'm going la 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 la. Because we don't have the predominant narrative when it comes to Autism Awareness Month. People try, like at conferences, I'm the token autistic to make them look good. But whenever I go on the stage, I say Autism Awareness Month is crap and it shouldn't happen. And I'm here because of a token, because I mean, in the lineup, other than me, you've got, a few parents, you've got a few experts that maybe bought their qualifications somewhere, that call themselves an expert, and then they prey on the fears of parents of autistic kids, and then they make a fortune, and then they go home at night and they light their cigars off their Google shares. That's what happens. Like, this is a huge industry. The autism industry, as it's called, worth billions, and it preys on fear. This is my parting message. If you're autistic, you're already wonderful. Do not change for anybody. You're already awesome. If you're a parent with an autistic child that you believe could be autistic, your child is wonderful. They have gifts, they have talents, they have strengths, and most importantly, they have feelings. So this is my call to action. Listen to autistic voices. And by the way, hopefully this call to action isn't really falling on deaf ears, because if you are listening to it, then you're clued in, you're switched on, and I give you my most heartfelt of salutes. I do. So listen to us. We should be shaping the narrative, but unfortunately, we're trying to speak over the people who are shaping their version of the narrative. But our narrative is being autistic is okay. And it is okay. So lastly, but not leastly, I'd like to thank Doug again for inviting me on to rant into my camera and microphone for Autism Awareness Month, which I don't like, and probably none of the rest of the podcasters do like. But I wanted to give a short, snappy snippet to my experience, which isn't very interesting compared to everybody else's. But one thing you will notice is that they're all the same. We don't like this, where we don't hold the keys to the kingdom of the way we are viewed by society. So have a long, hard think. Thank you so much for joining. Enjoy the rest of the shows. You've been wonderful. And don't forget, should I say, autistic people are already great. We don't need or want to change for anybody. Thank you kindly.
For further information about NTI, please visit www.neurodiversity-training.com. This is the Neurodiversity Gold Podcast. With our love and gratitude for listening.